Fresh off my trip to Baton Rouge, people, behold your SEC Western Division champions, your Alabama Crimson Tide, for Tide clinching the SEC West crown after making that glorious, strong, determined, serious statement against LSU on last week at Tiger Stadium, and it made a little history for the first time since 1895. Yes, 1895, Alabama put up a 50-piece on those Tigers and forced Ed Orgeron to go into a meltdown, two-year-old tantrum type mode, but Alabama got the win, got it done, 55-17 over the Bayou Bengals of LSU. And though the people in Baton Rouge gave me a hard time in trying to find my parking area, yours truly was able to get inside Tiger Stadium, cover the game, and what an awesome game it was. But brand new week, you are locked and loaded onto the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Alabama football news. That being in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciating everybody for tuning in to this show, getting your work week, getting your preparation week for Arkansas started off correctly as the Crimson Tide got its revenge over Ed-O and those Tigers. As always, we're bringing you the show from Tuscaloosa, streaming this to you via YouTube. Speaking of a channel, you can go ahead right now, like the show up right now, like it up, leave a thumbs up on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn on all of those notifications so that way you can have the best and alerts here on your Crimson Tide. Also, the show brought to you by WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That's WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and cop you that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, showing that support to Coach Saban, the student athletes, and the University of Alabama in its dominance, its tradition of dominating the fourth quarter. So be sure to check those guys out. That's WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. But not only are we streaming the show to you through YouTube, but we got you covered also through Facebook and Twitter. So we got your YouTube, we got your Facebook, for all my Facebook people out there, we got the Twitterverse as well. So no excuse for you not to be locked on to the hottest show on the streets. It's always a joy to be joined by my man John Ivory, brother from another mother, in the production studio. And we got a fun show for you guys today. No guests, just me. Fun show for you guys today. We want you ringing those phone lines like your life depended on it. 205-448-1358, the number to call in to let your opinion be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Before we get into the first topic of conversation, got a couple of super chats to shout out right now. First off, how about D. Joshua Benjamin? D. Joshua Benjamin starting us off here with $5 with the super chats. Appreciate that donation from him. And also Jimmy Clay. Jimmy Clay coming in here with that crisp $20 here, showing us the love via Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But topic number one here, folks. Topic number one, it is time. It is time to include Devonta Smith in the Heisman conversation. It is time to put Smitty, it is time to put Silky Smooth 6 into the Heisman talk here when it comes to Alabama football and college football in general. Now, legitimately, Alabama would have and should have 4 Heisman contenders when you discuss Mac Jones, Devonta Smith, Najee Harris, and Jalen Waddle. Unfortunately, Waddle got hurt, so now Alabama has 3 legitimate Heisman contenders when you discuss Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and Devonta Smith. And while Mac Jones is thoroughly deserves all the credit, all the praise that he has gotten because he has had an incredible year, most definitely he should be in the Heisman conversation, absolutely. The same thing for Najee Harris. He came back for his senior year, his second 1,000-yard campaign this season. He continues to advance up the all-time list for Alabama running backs where rushing yards and rushing touchdowns and total scores are concerned. So definitely Najee Harris. But now you have to. It's a must. You have to put Devonta Smith in the Heisman conversation. And against LSU on last week, there were some plays in that game. There were some catches he made that I'm just like, am I literally seeing what I think I'm seeing? I mean, he even had the likes of Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson on CBS just marveling in amazement the type of talent, the type of receiver, the type of weapon, the type of playmaker that he is. And he dominated LSU and just dominated Derek Stingley in the LSU defensive secondary. 8 catches, a game high, 231 receiving yards, a game high. He had 3 touchdowns. His long scores of 65 and 61 yards, those just showed the speed and the route running. But his 20-yard score showed the hands, the fight, the competitiveness. He elevates in the air over Derek Stingley, makes a one-handed grab, got both feet in bounds. There have been so many different comps given for Smitty. Some NFL scouts say, well, he's Marvin Harrison. Others say, oh no, he's Lynn Swann. Others say, there's some Randy Moss in there. There have been a lot of comparisons being thrown out there on Devonta Smith. And what's crazy is, as many legendary players that have come through this Alabama program upon discussing guys like Ozzie Newsome, players like David Deuce Palmer, players like Julio Jones. You wonder if Nick Saban did not get the yes from Julio Jones back in 2008. Do we know Saban as the elite recruiter he is today? Probably not. We've seen legends like Amari Cooper come through this program. We've seen guys like Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. We've even seen really good receivers like a Calvin Ridley, like a Kevin Norwood, even down to a guy like DJ Hall and a guy like Tyrone Prothro, if not for the compound leg injury. There have been so many great players to come to the program, but Devonta Smith is literally the hidden 11th commandment in the Bible that God chose not to unveil until 2nd and 26 happened. Devonta Smith is literally the hidden 11th commandment in the Bible, but you have to take a magnifying glass to see, because God did that on purpose. It's like, thou shalt not guard Smitty. Like, that's the 11th commandment right there, because the brother can't be guarded. He can't be stopped. He can't be slowed down. Should definitely be in the Heisman talk, especially after that performance against LSU. And not just that, Smitty owns 4 teams in the SEC. Smitty is literally paying child support for 4 defensive secondaries in the SEC. He's paying child support for Georgia. He's owned Georgia since his freshman year. He's paying child support for Mississippi State. He's owned the Bulldogs since his freshman year. He's paying child support on Ole Miss. He has owned the Rebels, and he's owned Ole Miss, and he's paid child support for LSU. He has owned 4 defensive secondaries in this conference since setting foot in this conference as a freshman in 2017. The young man, 6 100-yard games this season, 2 200-yard performances. This year, he is 2nd in the country for receptions with 80. He is 1st in the country with yards, 1,305. He's tied for 1st in the country in touchdown receptions with 15. And he's about to seriously rewrite the record books in terms of everything when you look at Alabama: catches, receiving yards, touchdowns. He's already got the touchdown record at 38, but his 198 catches, he is 3rd all-time career. He's behind Calvin Ridley at 224 and Amari Cooper at 228 respectively. Now, if Smitty gets 31 catches, he is 31 catches away from replacing Cooper as Alabama's all-time leader for career receptions. In terms of yards, Smitty is at 3,414. He's number 2, only behind Cooper. He's 49 yards away from tying Cooper. He's 50 yards. So pick this. He's 30 catches, and he's 50 receiving yards away from putting his name above Amari Cooper when you look at career receptions and career receiving yards. Now, in terms of single season success here, we all remember Amari Cooper, 2014, had 124 catches for 1,727 yards receiving and 16 touchdowns. Now, for Smitty right now, Devonta Smith, once again, 80 catches. Now, Cooper had 124. He's 44 catches away from tying Coop single season, 45 catches away from riding a new single season record. His 1,305 yards in terms of Smitty, he is 422 yards away from tying Coop at that 1,727, but he's 423 yards away from taking the lead over Coop. He's 1 touchdown away from tying Coop. Smitty with 15, Cooper with 16. He's 2 touchdowns away from surpassing Coop for the single season marks here. And Smitty right now, 1 more game left in the regular season, which that's against Arkansas, but potentially he's looking at 4 games. The matchup with Arkansas, the SEC championship meeting with Florida, and then 2 games here in the college football playoffs. So potentially Smitty has 4 games to rewrite history and put his name above everybody else when you look at college football. Folks, this is incredible. And you got so many people right now saying, well, the talent's down there at Florida, they're better than, they should have more say in this conversation than Smitty has, the receivers down there where the Florida Gators are concerned. Florida Gators have some good weapons. They do. They have some nice weapons. But at the same time, none of those guys own 4 defensive secondaries in the SEC. When Georgia has to play Alabama, Georgia's cowering in fear because they got to deal with Devonta Smith. When Mississippi State has to come to town, they're cowering in fear. Why? They have to deal with Devonta Smith. Going back to the game against Mississippi State this season, there was a point in the game where Mike Leach literally turned to his guys and said, you see Devonta Smith over there? Yeah, number 6 over there? Yeah, him. Be like him. That's who I aspire y'all to be. Be like him. When Ole Miss comes to town, their group cowering in fear. Why? They have to put up with this joker. And then, of course, LSU. Devonta Smith in his two games against LSU as a starting receiver, in 2 games combined here, we're talking 2019 and this year, Smitty, 15 catches, 444 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. He has owned the Tigers, caused Ed Ogeron to go into an absolute meltdown. And I remember a few weeks back, John Mechie referred to Smitty as the best player in college football. Not just the best receiver, the best player in college football. And right now, no one's doubting John Mechie for his thoughts. Mac Jones said today, you can just watch the games and you can tell that Smitty is the best player in college football. When Nick Saban spoke to the media after the game over the weekend, he talked about, I'm not one to compare my guys to other guys, but we all know in Saban's heart of heart, he believes Devonta Smith is the best player in college football. Nick Saban's not going to say it. Of course he's not going to say it, but in his heart of hearts, he knows Devonta Smith is the best player in college football. It doesn't matter if he's lined up at the X flanker, at the split end position, whether he's lined up in the slot, whether he's lined up at the Z, the flanker spot. You have to keep an eye on him. And as much as college football hurts not to have Jalen Waddle, as much as it pains college football not to have Waddle right now, it is more proud of being able to watch the full maturation and development of Smitty from 2nd and 26 to this very moment. Because, like you guys mentioned, if he would have just been recognized for 2nd and 26, and that was all he did, then Smitty would be considered still a legend. But because he has transformed himself to be even more than that, put him in the Heisman conversation. It's time to start Smitty for Heisman. It's getting going right now. We take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, just getting you started on a Monday. Upon our return, we entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your texts, your chats, your concerns. We talk Bama with you, the fans, after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwill Sports introduces to you the title. Take that title. Just don't support of Nick Saban and the Adams. Only 99 minutes last time. Head on over to will.com and that'll day.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And we are back in, folks, to the action on a Monday, fresh off the 55-17 beatdown that Alabama put on LSU over the weekend. Nick Saban getting that revenge, making that statement. Alabama making a little history, the first time since 1895 where the Tigers allowed 50 points on it in its series with Alabama. But we're locked and loaded here, folks, in my own words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get to your phone calls here, as the call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, got a super chat to shout out, and that goes to Senator Hines. Senator Hines dropping in that $5 there, showing us some love here at TDA. But we get to your calls now. 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard. 205-448-1358. And we take our first call. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen. Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, and yourself?
Hey, I was kind of worried about a key injury we're going to suffer down at the LSU game the other night. I'm not talking about Najee. He's a beast. He can handle it. We're talking about Eli Gold and all those touchdowns he had to keep calling every time Alabama scored. After the fifth one, I was afraid he started to get hoarse.
I mean, I think he's going to have to take a Ricola or some Hall's cough drops. We got Eli situated. He'll be okay.
Yeah, Orgeron definitely talked himself into a beat down like that. And if anybody owns anybody, you're right. Devonta owns LSU. Now there's somebody there's someone who owns something. And the guy, it's like he's never covered. It's how does he possibly get that wide open against team? Okay, it's not like he's sneaking up on you. It's a move and he's gone. If Mac Jones pumps fakes, that's it. It's all over. And it's just unbelievable how the guy is doing it. I mean, he's almost to become superhuman now. And like you said earlier, he's so transcended, second and 26 now. It's almost becoming an afterthought in our minds of that. One of the greatest play in Alabama history that he committed, and his greatness is starting to transcend that. I mean, that in and of itself is just incredible. I'm afraid that he and Mac are going to cost each other, the Heisman. I know everybody say, well, we shouldn't worry about that. It is important. If it wasn't important, nobody would care to get it. But, it is what it is. You got two great players on the same team, really, really three. And it's, and they're going to, it looks like they're going to cancel each other out. But it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. The thing that kind of bugs me, though, if it's a downside, is, again, Dylan Moses and his name not being called during big games. you wouldn't know he's on the field sometimes because he's just not. You don't see him making impacts when the lights are the brightest. He just, at least in these several games, it just seemed like he's just on the field but not there, and that's what we were hoping for more. But right now, so far, he's having a hard time finding his way. But everybody else, again, Will Reichert, goodness gracious, we just can't say enough about him. We say we got our big three, Najee, Mac Jones, Devontae. But Will Reichert, in my opinion, makes that fourth. It's a big four because he's been invaluable with that we know we can trust him down the stretch. If we can run into a field goal we got to have, we all feel like he's going to get it for it. I can remember a couple of years ago, we would have been happy if Alabama was completing 8 extra points in a row. If Alabama kicker would just give us 8 extra points in a row, let alone 8 field goals in a row. And 59 or so extra points, something like that? The guy's been just amazing. The whole offense has been great. The defense started rough, giving LSU a couple of busted plays. But, this is a new era of football. You're not going to shut any decent team out. But in the second half, they picked it up. If we can get that down the stretch, okay, yeah, we might might take some time to get adjustments in the first half, and the team we're playing against might hit us for a few plays, but we'll get you in the second half. That's all this offense needs is for the defense to get a few key stops against the Clemsons, the Floridas, the Ohio States, I guess even the Notre Dame, because that's all this offense is going to need. Just a couple of key stops down the road, and we'll get you. And Najee, I think, is the X factor that will put us ahead of the Clemsons, Floridas, Notre Dames, Ohio States, because he's the best running back in football. He runs hard, he runs tough, and he can grind out a game. And I think we may have to get to where we, grind out a game down the stretch, take the air out of the ball, hold it for 4, 5, 6 minutes, and I think Najee will give us that edge down the road.
Appreciate that call there, Robert. Appreciate that, Robert from Mobile calling in. We take our next call here on the show. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Steven. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Fresh off my trip to Baton Rouge. How are you?
Oh, I bet you enjoyed that, man.
I enjoyed the game. However, I did not enjoy the runaround that the Baton Rouge parking patrol put me on. I couldn't find my parking spot until about 35 minutes later. They almost had me late for kickoff.
What did those people do to you, Steven?
I don't know what they did. They kept saying, you park over here, you go over there, you go over there.
They recognized you. They said
so what happened was,
spot number 8.
I'm just saying, so the moment my frustration almost set in, it just felt like something said, go ask this one last parking person. He going to put you in the right spot. And I asked this one kind of elderly gentleman. He sat there and said, Steven, I don't know why they're doing you like this, sir. Just park at the volleyball field. The volleyball field is right next door to Tiger Stadium. Just park right there. And I was like, finally, a guy that knows what's going on.
Lord have mercy. Hey, you weren't old enough, but I saw Lynn Swann play. I saw him beat my Cowboys many a Sunday with those catches that aren't stick-to-the-glove catches, the kinds he goes up 5 feet in the air and makes. So I think he looks like Swanee, or that's what they called him then, Swanee.
There's some comparison there.
One more thing, Steven. I don't think Bryce Young is developing.
A lot of people are a little bit concerned there, but, once again, not having that spring, not having that time to practice the way he needed to get the feel of the playbook and the system with these guys. But, next season, he's going to have that spring, hopefully. Next season, he's going to have that opportunity. But he'll grow. But appreciate the call, man. Definitely appreciate that. We go to our next caller in the queue. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Steven, this is Rich from Roanoke. What's going on, buddy?
Rick, what's going on, man?
Oh, not a whole lot. I just want to talk a little bit about the Heisman. All right, you got Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and then Zach Wilson. Ain't that his name, Zach Wilson? He lost. Okay, he falls off. All right. And nowadays, they want to make it a quarterback award. Okay, so if you do that, in my opinion, Mac owns it. But if you want to talk about the best player in football, I mean, I'm talking about any team would love to have them, because when the ball comes to them, they make a play. Any which way it was, and I compare him to Randy Moss, and that's Devonta. He, to me, is the best player in college football because of what he has done, especially this year. I mean, you know, he's done it ever since he's a freshman, but he has matured. He has come along. He's getting better and better and better. And if you wanted the award to go to the best player in college football, which is supposed to be not a quarterback award, then Devonta all outright has it. I mean, he is just phenomenal. Him and Judy, I heard Devontae's press conference. He said, yeah, you're going to get 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Well, he let him down a little bit on his 300 yards, and he got his 3 touchdowns. I mean, he is just, I know this much, that the Dolphins will get him no lower. They're either 5 or 6. Okay, if you take everyone off the board, okay, say Trevor Lawrence is first. I'm not so sure about Justin Fields. Okay, they got Trey Lance going 3rd. I don't know about that either, but I hope he falls to the Dolphins. But as far as football, Devonta Smith is the best player, period, in college football, in my opinion. What do you think?
I think he is. Rich, we appreciate that call. That's Rich from Roanoke. Give us a good call here. We take our next call. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
What's up, Steven?
Doing pretty good, man. Fresh off my trip to Baton Rouge.
Good. Welcome back. Glad you made it safely, and I know you enjoyed the butt kicking that we gave them after that loud outburst by Orgeron last year after a 5-point win. That, you know, they deserved it. They won, but we failed to people failed to forget. Tua fumbled on the first possession last year, and he threw a pick before the half. It changed the whole game. If those 2 things don't happen, LSU doesn't go undefeated. We actually beat them last year. 2 things that happened in that game. So I wanted to say, I always thought coming into when they all came to Alabama, I was a big fan of all 3 of the receivers, Devonta Smith, Henry Ruggs, and Jerry Jeudy. But I always thought of the 3, he was the most complete receiver. And I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear that because they think Jeudy is the most complete. Jeudy is great. Judy's special. Ruggs a one-trick pony still. Got to learn how to run routes. But Devonta Smith runs every route. He can get deep. He can run. He can come out the slot. He's durable. He doesn't get hurt. That's the real thing. He never gets hurt. And I just love what he does for this football team. He plays special teams at a high level. Goes down and makes tackles. Nick Saban said something today. He said he may be he's done more for our program than most guys I've ever coached. That says a lot about him, you know?
It does. Proud of Smitty. Cam Sims told me this when Smitty was a freshman when I was at that open practice, so does not surprise me one bit. Doesn't surprise me, but we appreciate the call. Definitely appreciate that call there. Absolutely. You guys are hitting us up, 205-448-1358. But I'm going to call in, 205-448-1358 to give your take on the show following the Alabama win over LSU. But a cool topic right now, how about Alabama football in terms of being semi-finalists for national awards? We have hit this time in the college football season where these foundations, these organizations, they're putting together their candidates to be semi-finalists for national awards. When you look at Alabama here, where its student athletes are concerned, we've got the trio of Mac Jones, Devonta Smith, and Najee Harris all up for the Maxwell Award, which goes to the best player in college football player of the year. Smitty, Najee Harris, and Mac Jones up for the Maxwell Award. When you look at just Mac Jones himself, he's a semifinalist for the Maxwell Award and the Davey O'Brien Award in terms of quarterbacks. When you go down to Najee Harris, He is up for the Maxwell Award semifinalist and the Doak Walker Award semifinalist. The Doak Walker Award goes to the best running back in college football. If you cha-cha slide down to Devonta Smith, he's up for not only the Maxwell Award, but he's also a semifinalist for the Fred Biletnikoff Award, which goes to college football's top receiver. The likes of Amari Cooper in 2014 and Jerry Jeudy in 2018 won this award previously for the Tide. Moving on down to one, Patrick Surtain II. He's a semifinalist for 3 awards. He is up for the Jim Thorpe Award, goes to the nation's best defensive back. He's up for the Chuck Bednarik Award and the Lott Impact Trophy as well. If you look at one, Dylan Moses, he is a semifinalist for the Lott Impact Trophy. And also, as of last week, as you recall, Christian Harris was a semifinalist for the Butkus Award, which goes to the nation's top linebacker in the country. So right now, it's award season. All of these different foundations, organizations doing their semifinalists for national awards. Oh, I forgot one. Silly me. Will Reichert. How could I forget the kicker? Steven, how could you, man? Will Reichert is a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award, which goes to the nation's top kicker. Will Reichert this year, 10 for 10 on field goals, perfect in that area, including a 52-yard bomb he made against the Georgia Bulldogs. He's also 59 of 59, perfect on all of his PATs, point after touchdown tries. So once again, these organizations, these foundations giving out their candidates to be semifinalists for awards. Now, of course, the voting will continue for all of these honors, and you'll have the list of finalists named pretty soon. And then once you go from the list of finalists, we will see once and for all who takes these awards. But after Alabama was not nominated for any type of awards this past season, it's good to see the Crimson Tide back on top of the award season game this year. We take a break here on the show, but upon our return, we will dive into one Will Anderson. The true freshman outside linebacker is starting to hit his gear in terms of being the pass rush specialist that Alabama has needed. We'll break down Anderson after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And we are live from the break here, folks, on the hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Fresh off my trip to Baton Rouge, Crimson Tide getting the 55-17 beatdown, making that statement, or sending that statement, as I should say, to the LSU Tigers, and one Ed Ogeron, improving to 9-0 on the year, and the Tide has clinched a spot in the SEC championship game. The championship game, the Tide will take on those Florida Gators here pretty soon. Before we jump back into the topic of conversation, got to remind you of this. MyBookie AG. That is MyBookie AG. If you're the type of fan, you love to wager. You love to have some fun. You love to make some bets, especially bets for Alabama football. And for those of you that maybe made those bets in the LSU game and you won those bets and you want to continue to make yourself some money, check out our sponsor right here, MyBookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. Make the right play and sign up today at mybookie.ag. And when you do sign up, use the promo code TDAlabama to get your deposit matched halfway. We're talking about up to $1,000 right here. That's a lot of money. Can't beat that with a stick. So go to mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. Sign up right now. Make yourself a winner. Play the game. Be a winner. Mybookie.ag. Get your win on right there. So coming from, sponsors there at mybookie.ag. But we get into now second topic of conversation here, and this goes out to one Will Anderson. Now, before we discuss Anderson, got to shout out Matt Cadell, former Alabama wide receiver that comes on the show very frequently on Wednesday, and we have the locker drop segments among other things that we discussed in fun, interactive ways here. The last locker drop for the LSU game, but two of us actually did pretty good there. We got the defense one right in terms of the 5 sacks. We got the defense one right. He almost got the Jaleel Billingsley one right. He said Jaleel would have 2 touchdowns. He could have had 2. He did have 1, though, in the matchup. So this last locker drop really panned out pretty well here for the both of us. And in the final segment on Friday's show, to end last week's edition of content, I spoke on, the 5 players defensively that I felt like would be, marquee, impactful players. And 4 of the 5 players I named, they stepped up. Josh Joe played well. We named him. Christian Barbour played well. I named him. Christian Harris had that huge 4th down stop on LSU's first possession. Named him. Will Anderson, named him. He played well. Even down to Jordan Battle. Now, of course, Jordan Battle didn't have an interception or he didn't have any crazy big plays, but even Jordan Battle held his own out there on the field. But getting into one Will Anderson right now, this young man from Georgia is starting to find his gear. He is starting to hit his stride, emerging as a marquee pass rusher and an edge rusher that Alabama has needed since the departure of Tim Williams following the 2016 season. And I mentioned this on last week. I said this last week. For a lot of edge rushers, for a lot of sack specialists, the nerves, the anxiety is just trying to get that first sack, getting that quarterback on the ground with the ball still in his hands for the first time. Once you get that first sack, you can finally exhale and just go out there, have fun, play your game, pin your ears back, and really do what you came here to do, what you were recruited to college football or to Alabama football specifically to do. And on 2 weeks ago, Will Anderson got his first sack against Auburn, got, Bo Nix to the ground, celebrated, had fun, was excited, and I felt like at that moment right there, he had locked in, he got the first sack, he was able to exhale. I felt like last week against LSU, he was going to snap. He was going to turn up. He was going to go out there, do his thing, and emerge and show, I got it now. I'm good now. I can play at the SEC level now. I can play in this scheme. I can play in this defense. And even with Sal Sunseri, who was one of 4 assistant coaches that did not make the trip to Baton Rouge, how about the performance from Will Anderson? 8 tackles. He tied for the team lead with DeMarco Hellams. Anderson, 4 solo stops, 2 sacks, was all in that backfield, affecting the likes of TJ Finley and Max Johnson. He also had 2 tackles for loss. And while Christian Harris tackled the running back, Ty Davis-Price, on that 4th down stop in the red zone there for LSU, it was Will Anderson who made the play. The freshman knocked the left tackle for LSU out. And the left tackle, 75 pounds heavier than Anderson. He put all 235 pounds of his body on that left tackle, knocked him out of the way, which allowed Christian Harris to submarine down, take out Ty Davis-Price for a stop there, no gain, turnover on downs, sideline went absolutely berserk in just excitement after that play happened. Will Anderson was huge there on that play. This young man this season, 35 tackles for Anderson. He's 8th on the team right now, 6.5 tackles for loss, one of the team leaders. He's got 3 sacks this season, one of the team leaders. He has 8 quarterback hurries, leads the team in that regard. And what's interesting here is Tim Williams against LSU, his first matchup against LSU in 2015 as a starter in the pass rush specialist role, he only had 1 tackle and half a sack against LSU. But for the whole season 2015, Williams had 19 tackles. 19 tackles. So Anderson's already ahead of Williams in the tackles department. Now, Williams had 12 and a half tackles for loss to Will Anderson 6.5. For Anderson, if he can average 2.5 tackles for loss per game in this next potential 4 games, Alabama 1 final game left in the regular season, that being Arkansas. It's got the SEC title game against Florida, potentially 2 games there in the college football playoff. So if in the next 4 games potentially, Will Anderson can average 2.5 tackles for loss, he will surpass Tim Williams' production from his first year as a starter. And then, even though Williams has 10.5 sacks, if Anderson can also average 2 sacks, at least 2 sacks in the next potential 4 games, he will catch Tim Williams in that area as well. So right now, Anderson's in the right spot. He's exactly where he needs to be in terms of being that disruptor in the backfield, being that sack specialist, becoming the pass rusher that Alabama's always wanted, following behind one Tim Williams. I mentioned, it took him a minute to get the first sack. There were moments where he was so close to getting to the quarterback. He was always a foot away or a couple of inches away, what have you. But when he was able to bring down Bo Nix 2 weeks ago in the Iron Bowl, it really kind of got him to calm down and solidify himself to say, I can do this. I can play at Alabama. I can play at the collegiate level. I can perform with a high motor. This game is not too big for me. It's not too much for me. And parlaying his success from that game into the matchup against LSU, the young man was all over the field. 8 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, all over the field there. Made life very difficult for TJ Finley. Made life difficult also for Max Johnson as well. And because of Anderson's performance, Alabama's defense ended the game with 5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss. I think it had 2 forced fumbles, had some pass breakups in there. And despite the fact that a lot of you as fans, you guys are perfectionists, you looked at this game and you said, there's no way LSU should score in this game. There's no way we should not be able to shut them out. Alabama should definitely be able to shut out LSU out in this matchup. But even the 2 touchdowns that the Tigers scored, one of them was the play where Kayshon Boutte makes the catch, gets to the end zone. But before he gets to the end zone, he drops the ball at the 1-yard line. I'm wondering where was the whistle on the play, because that ball was down at the 1-yard line for quite some time before it rolled into the end zone, and Kirkland recovered the fumble for a touchdown for LSU. I'm thinking it should be a touchback. Where was the whistle on the play? The whistle didn't blow. LSU got the touchdown there. The only reason why it got that to occur was there was a slight miscommunication there between Daniel Wright and Josh Jobe. And Coach Saban talked about it. It was not Jobe's fault, because the original call of the play was a blitz off the cat corner. Jobe was supposed to come on the blitz and get to the quarterback, but LSU switches the play at the last minute. Nick Saban is yelling at Daniel Wright to get Josh Jobe's attention so they can get the play switched. Daniel Wright did not get Jobe's attention, unfortunately. Miscommunication there. And then on the rushing touchdown from one John Emery Jr., Malachi Moore just a tad bit late on the run fit. He was almost there, just got there a tad bit late. Emery bounced the play outside, got the 57-yard touchdown run. Of course, when Malachi went to the sideline, Coach Saban looked at him. He was like, I know, Coach, it's me. I know, my bad. That's my fault. That's on me. Won't happen again. The young man took that responsibility, took it upon himself. So you know this defense is getting better. You know this defense is improving with each passing week here, each passing game down the stretch. But Really proud of Will Anderson, starting to become that marquee, big-time edge pass rusher that Alabama has lacked since Tim Williams departed following the 2016 season. So big ups there to Will Anderson. We take our next break here on the show. Don't touch that down, folks. When we get back, we return to the phone lines to entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your opinions, your viewpoints on Bama. We get to you after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we are back on you from the break on the number one ticket for Crimson Tide football news in my own words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate everybody tuning into the show. Be sure to like the show up, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn on all of those notifications so that way you have the best information on your Crimson Tide. Got a super chat to go to right now. Senator Hines again. Senator Hines, once again, that $2 with the super chats coming from him. Appreciate that donation from one Senator Hines. But we're at the phone lines now. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. The number to call in, 205-448-1358. We take a call here from one Senator Hines. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Nothing much, Stephen. How you doing today, man?
Doing good, man. Fresh off a trip to Baton Rouge, the traffic patrol down there. They tried to make your boy late for kickoff, but I got in there.
Man, look, they knew that you was coming to get the real, man. They knew you was coming to get the real news. They know you ain't gonna hold back on it. But yeah, man, I'm excited, man. I'm glad the game went the way it did. I wish we could have held them guys to, that goose egg, but things happen. Like I was saying in the chat, it's really hard as a defensive coordinator to game plan for a true freshman quarterback in a offense that was missing so many pieces, so many things that you could use a key on. So we really didn't know what to expect. We knew they wasn't going to try to force the run game because they really haven't had a run game. And they broke a couple big runs, but nothing that had me scared. A lot of that stuff was just last minute, like you said, last minute miscommunication stuff. But overall, our defense is continuously improving. But yeah, it's hard to prep. That's like, even I coach high school football, and as a defensive back coach, there's certain things I could look at, tendencies of a quarterback that'll help my DBs get the edge. Whether it's a half a step quicker, jumping in phase with a receiver, or jumping a route that they're not necessarily covering, but it's in their area. So it's things like that I believe that the secondary and the defense struggled with early on. But this week we got Arkansas, man. And I ain't gonna lie, I love me a good smoked wild hog every now and then. So it's gonna be a good one this weekend, man. I think if we come out slow, Arkansas will make it look like a good game. But of course, we're gonna pull it off. 40+ points again. Defense gonna play a stellar game. And also, I want to shout out little Terry W in the chat from I guess he's an Ohio State fan, the B2B fan. So just want to shout him out with his false hope for believing Ohio State stands a chance against Alabama. We see you out there. Hopefully y'all do get in the playoffs so we can go ahead and give it to you, man. Hey, Stephen, hey, I'm out, man. Roll Tide, brother.
Appreciate the call coming from Senador, starting us off in the second call segment. We take our next call of the night. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, Steven?
What's up?
Yeah, this is my first time calling on your show, man. Huge fan. But, man, I just wanted to talk about should we start playing DeMarco Hellams more? That's what I want to focus.
I think you should. I think it's definitely something to look at to start Hellams in that free safety spot. I would also look at Brian Branch, starting him in that free safety spot. The young freshman did have an interception, his first pick in the Iron Bowl, so either Hellams or Branch, you can't go wrong with either or.
Exactly. I just don't know. Who was it that they got ejected last week?
That was Daniel Wright.
Yeah, Daniel Wright. I feel like he's just a liability for us right now. Like I don't know. I don't know what Coach Saban sees in him, but it just seems like for every elite play, he makes 2 or 3 mistakes, and that just can't happen on the long run against teams like Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame. So,
I mean, to me, he's always, to me, I feel like he tries too hard to make a big play. He tries too hard to be a playmaker instead of just doing his job and making the right play. So when he's able to make the right play, you'll see Daniel Wright make some improvement. But I'm with you on the Hellams or Brian Branch. Either one of those two to start would be awesome. We appreciate the call, man. Absolutely. We take our next call of the night. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
He's always, to me, I thought
I got you right there. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Yes, I'm a Roll Tide fan, Alabama fan, Roll Tide, calling from Irondale, Ricky. I think that Heisman should be the whole Alabama offensive lineman.
I think Nick Saban would agree with you, man. I think Coach Saban would agree.
Yeah, because if you don't have no offensive lineman, you don't have no running game or no passing game. So I think the whole offensive lineman of Bama should be the Heisman.
Okay, I like that. But, Ricky, if you had your choice to pick at least one offensive lineman to give it to, I know you want the whole line, but if you could pick one offensive lineman to hand it to, who would you go with? One lineman.
The center.
Dickerson. Dickerson. Boy, Dickerson's having a great year.
Yeah. Yes, because he's having a great year. Plus, like I said, that it just in the past, Alabama haven't had a decent offensive lineman since maybe about 4 years ago. But it takes a good offensive lineman to win games.
You're right about that, Ricky. We appreciate the call, man. Good call. Keep listening to us. We go to our next call here on the line. You're on In My Own Words. What's going on?
What's up, Steven? How you doing, man? This is Sean from Huntsville.
Sean, Big Daddy, what's going on with you, man?
Nothing much, man. I wasn't even going to call tonight, man, but I wanted to come out here and take a little break. I'm at work, but I wanted to come out here and call. I didn't even really want nothing for real. Shout out to everybody in the chat, Senador, William Bryan, Roll Tide, Rise Up, Willie, Waylon, all the homies from the chat, everybody, man. But I wanted to call and because I'm seeing a lot of Ohio State people in this chat. I'm not sure if they're really Ohio State fans but I wanted to call and give a quick troll and a fact right quick. For all the Ohio State fans that keep coming in our chat, being disrespectful, talking crazy, let me explain something to you. The last time you beat Alabama, the freshman on our team was 12 years old. Please stop. You sound ridiculous. You know what I mean? Don't make me call Iowa or Purdue on you. You know what I mean? Every time you have a good team, don't make me call unranked Iowa or unranked Purdue to do what they usually do, ruin your season. Please stop. You're not respected like Alabama. I respect you as a great team, but please stop acting like Alabama's worried about Ohio State. You just worry about playing Gumbo University and Seasoned Salt Tech in that conference. Please stop. You know what I mean? The Big Ten is a one-team conference. The ACC is a one-team conference. The Big 12, Oklahoma, is a one-team conference. The SEC has 2 national champions in the same division. So please stop. And would have had another one in the Eastern Division if Alabama hadn't beat them in 2018. Please stop with this Big Ten, this Ohio State. I pray to the good Lord above that we get to see you in those playoffs so we can show you what everybody else already know. You ain't got nothing for Bama, bro. Nothing for Bama. But Stephen, thank you for taking my call, baby. I appreciate you, and we're going to roll tide at the death and continue support.
Absolutely. Sean from Huntsville calling in, giving us a little rant here on Ohio State. Appreciate everybody for calling in, 205-448-1358. The number 2 call in to give your take, your thoughts, your opinions here on Alabama football or whatever else you may like to talk about. 205-448-1358. Senator Hines drops in that $2 via the chat. We appreciate that from Senator. He also writes in, Sean, lighten them up. Sean from Huntsville, lighten them up, putting the smackdown on the Ohio State fans there in the chat. We appreciate the Buckeye fans in there, letting their voices be heard as well. But another cool topic here, folks, as you continue to get your thoughts together, 205-448-1358. How about Bama in the NFL? Week 13 edition of Bama in the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa, Henry Ruggs III, and Jalen Hurts all took the field, all played on Sunday. Tua, big game for him. The Dolphins won. They beat the Bengals 19-6. If I'm not mistaken, Tua had near 300 yards passing, 296 for Henry. Zoom Ruggs. How about Ruggs? He ended the game with the game-winning touchdown from one Derek Carr. Got the Las Vegas Raiders at 7-5 on the year. Still in the hunt for the AFC playoff picture. Congrats to the Ruggs. 3 catches for 84 yards, including that touchdown there for Zoom. And then for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts. I mean, the Green Bay Packers start the game dominating the Eagles. Doug Peterson finally decided to sit Carson Wentz on the bench, put Jalen Hurts out there. Lo and behold, he sparked the team. Threw a touchdown pass. Then the Eagles came back and had a punt return for a score. I mean, Jalen brought the game back. Of course, unfortunately, the Eagles lost, but Jalen made it interesting. He provided a spark there for that team. So for Dougie Peterson, Dougie P, do the right thing, man. Do the right thing. You saw Jalen Hurts go out there and spark the team and spark the franchise. You got nothing to lose. You're already out of the division. You got no shot to win the NFC East, okay? The New York Giants have already won the division with their 4 wins. They've already won the division. So, Philly, the best you can do, look at Jalen Hurts, see what this future can offer you, because Carson Wentz, let's be honest, he's a great talent, but he leads the NFL with 15 picks. 15. Something got to give. So go to Jalen Hurts, see what he brings you. You drafted him in the 2nd round for some reason. To some degree, I don't know why you chose to do it, but you drafted him because you saw something in him. Let's see what this future holds here for Jalen Hurts at quarterback for those Eagles. But proud of him for providing the spark. Proud of Henry Ruggs. Tua! Almost a 300-yard passing day for him against the Bengals as the Dolphins 8-4 on the year. But we take another break here, people, on the show. When we get back, we'll touch on Mac Jones. People are starting to discredit Mac Jones all because, well, he's got weapons. Everybody got weapons in college football. And we'll discuss that topic after this.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama. If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, people, we are back into the conversation from the break on the number one forum for Bama football news. That being in my own words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciating everybody for calling in, writing in, texting in, making your voice, your opinions be part of the show. And before we get into the final conversation, got to remind you people, TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. Making sure one-stop shop, your plug for all of your Alabama football clothing, apparel, purchasing needs. If you fancy the I Love Hearing Touchdown Alabama shirts, the We Want Football shirts, Let Them Play shirts, hoodies of all shapes, sizes, colors, we got you covered right now, right here, TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. Shop here today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But we get into now one Mac Jones who is putting himself in position, or who has placed himself in the position to be the first Alabama signal caller quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy. Mac Jones is having an unbelievable year. You go back to the preseason, you go back to the spring and to the summer. The conversation was literally verbal abuse when you talk Mac Jones. It was, he can't do it, he won't do it, he's not capable. Alabama will not win a championship with Mac Jones. Get that thought out of your head. The only way a championship comes to Alabama is through Bryce Young. Bryce Young is going to bring us a title. If Bryce Young's not the starter, Alabama football is doomed. Bryce has got to start either at the beginning of the season or he's got to start middle of the season. The championship comes through Bryce Young. And this was national talking heads, some local people out there, rival fans, even fans that claim the name of Alabama football is my team, verbally abusing one Mac Jones. And Jones has come around here. He has been incredible. People have retracted their statements. People are going, oh my gosh, he's good. I didn't know he's good. I didn't know he was that good. Steve, did you know he was good? Heck yes, I knew. I've been saying this for 2 to 3 years, that Mac Jones was cooking up some in the house. I've been saying this the last 2 to 3 years. So this does not surprise me that he's out there dominating. This does not surprise me that he's out there having success. This does not surprise me that he is having an incredible season. I mean, against LSU, for the first, quarter, he was putting up Madden numbers. 13 of 13 passing for 243 and 3 touchdowns. Like, is this for real? I mean, he ended the game 20 for 28 passing, 71% for 387 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. He has put himself squarely in position here to win the Heisman Trophy. Now, you got a lot of Florida fans out here right now saying, but he ain't better than Kyle Trask, though. Kyle Trask is way better than Mac Jones. Mac Jones is doing this because he's got weapons. It's easy for Mac. He's got a 5-star offensive line and a 5-star running back and 5-star wide receivers and a 5-star offensive coordinator. It's easy for Mac. Look at what Kyle Trask is dealing with. Kyle Trask don't have the receivers that Mac has. Kyle Trask doesn't have the offensive mind that Mac has. Kyle Trask doesn't have the playmakers that Mac has. Kyle Trask is doing this by himself. Hold on here. So you mean to tell me Kyle Pitts, a 4-star tight end, The tight end who will be the number one tight end taken in the 2021 draft, that Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, who's got 11 touchdown catches this year. Oh, he's nothing? Are you trying to tell me Kadarius Toney, a big-time athlete from the state of Alabama, who leads Florida in receiving yards with 649 and 8 touchdowns? Oh, Kadarius Toney is nothing now? Oh, you mean to tell me this Trayvon Grimes, who's a 4-star, who's got 8 touchdowns from Kyle Pitts this season? Oh, he's not a weapon? Or how about Jacob Copeland, for crying out loud? Here's a 4-star right here. 306 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Oh, he's nothing? Florida's even got 2 tight ends not named Kyle Pitts that combined for 5 touchdown catches. Everybody got weapons, people. Calm down. Everybody in major college football, they all got weapons. And then you go to the NFL where you're playing with the best of the best weapons. Joe Burrow wasn't throwing to Weenie in the butt last year. Joe Burrow wasn't throwing to the sisters of the poor last year. I mean, Joe Burrow had Jamar Chase, a 1,000-yard receiver and a Biletnikoff Award winner. He had Justin Jefferson, a 1,000-yard receiver and a first-round pick. He had Terrace Marshall, who had 13 touchdowns last year. He had Thaddeus Moss, the son of Randy freaking Moss. And then he had Clyde Edwards-Helaire out the backfield that got drafted. But we don't put an asterisk by Joe Burrow's Heisman, do we? Or we don't say, but he had weapons. No, we say he was great, phenomenal, greatest season of all time. We do not put it, no one put an asterisk by Joe Burrow's season. Absolutely nobody. When Kyler Murray won the Heisman a couple of years back, and he had weapons all over the Big 12, and Kyler Murray could run. We didn't put no asterisk beside Kyler Murray's Heisman, now did we? No, we did not. So everybody in major college football has weapons. Even Kyle Trask, he's got an elite offensive mind in Dan Mullen. And everybody regards Dan Mullen as this great quarterback savant, as this great offensive guru, as this tremendous offensive mind. Don't you put no asterisks by Mac Jones if he wins the Heisman, because everybody in college football has weapons. Every major D1 program has weapons. It's about, can the point guard at the position, your quarterback, get the ball into the hands of these weapons? Now, I'll say this right now. The fact that Mac Jones has to share the ball with Najee Harris, seeing that Florida doesn't have any sense of a running game, Mac has it harder. Mac Jones has to give Najee Harris the ball to make sure Harris is accommodated for. And even though Najee has over 1,000 yards rushing this year, Mac Jones still 3,113 passing yards. He's the 5th quarterback in the Nick Saban era to have 3,000 passing yards, joining A.J. McCarron, Blake Sims, Jacob Coker, and Tua Tagovailoa. On top of this, Mac Jones has 27 touchdown passes this year. Folks, he's getting closer to that single-season passing record for touchdowns that Tua had. Tua had 43. Mac's got 27, but Mac's getting close to that number in a season where you didn't know you would have a season. You didn't think you would have college football. You didn't think that the season would be played. And then on top of that, Max had to deal with Coach Saban, contracting the COVID virus, showing symptoms for it. He's working with an offensive coordinator in Steve Sarkisian, but over the summer had open heart surgery, among other factors. Everybody in college football's got weapons. Mac Jones is just putting the ball and being elite with the football, being a dynamic quarterback. Do not sit there and poo-poo on his parade, because he got weapons. Everybody in college football has weapons, people. It's football. But Mac Jones right now putting himself in position to be the Heisman Trophy winner this season. Well, as always, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage here on your Crimson Tide. Simple and easy to access this. You get this by downloading the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I'll be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. You can also copy that 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of weownthefourthquarter.com. That link is in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands, children. School is in, school week back in. Do those things legitimately now to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and this has been In My Own Words.